Hey guys, I'm Georgia and welcome back to my channel for my one and only annual Q&A video. I like to keep my channel as focused on true crime and history, the sort of educational side as I can, but I do understand that sometimes people want to know more about the people they watch. So the way I sort of balance that is just by doing one Q&A a year, and this is that time. The last couple of years I've just done this Q&A on my sofa doing a bit of cross stitch, but you might know that we recently bought a house, we've just moved in, and the majority of our stuff is still in boxes like 6 weeks later because we just don't have furniture, we don't have places to put things yet, and my cross stitch is in one of the boxes. I don't know where it is, so we're just doing a standard chatty thing. Also, I am filming this at like 5 PM, so if it gets darker throughout the video, that's why. I had to take a new passport photo. My passport needs to be renewed because I'm going away in May, June? May. I'm going away in May, and I had a face of makeup on, and I was like, you know what, let's not waste a makeup day, let's film a video. Anyway, let's talk about some questions. So I actually asked you guys for questions on the community tab on my YouTube page, and you guys have come up with some really interesting things. I find Q&As often get quite repetitive, people ask the same thing, so I'm not going to try and go through all the questions, like the really basic stuff. I'm going to try and find the interesting ones, you know? Let's start with this nice question. How are you? Would love to hear a general update of what's going on for you. Well, a lot has gone on in my life in the last couple of months. As I said, we bought a house, me and my girlfriend. We are now in the house. We are slowly but surely painting it. The house doesn't really need renovation per se, but it is about 20 years old and it's never been updated at all in those 20 years. It's got the original carpets, original paint, original literally everything. And it's generally fine. It's just a bit rough around the edges and just needs a perk up, you know. So we've been doing the perking. So much paint. The first weekend we moved in, we got so much painting done. I was like, I want to keep this momentum going, and now I've lost it. So this office still has been painted, but because I don't really know what to do in here. I want to do something interesting with this wall, because whilst I'm working, this is the wall that I'm looking at all day, and I want it to be fun to look at. But also in the same vein, this is going to be where I'm filming my videos, and I don't want it to be distracting. I want to keep it quite plain and simple. So we're working on that. But yeah, I've just been super busy with house stuff, trying to work. Turns out we don't have fibre broadband here, which we didn't realise before we moved in. I don't know, I just didn't think to ask. I should have asked, but I didn't. So we don't have fibre. Apparently it is coming soon, fingers crossed. But it just means uploading videos has been a bit of a nightmare. But we're working around it, it's fine. What else is going on? We got 2 cats, which has added to the exhaustion, I'm not gonna lie. We got a kitten, she's called Crumble. I would show you her, you might have seen her in the background of a couple of videos. She's currently asleep and I don't want to disturb her because she never sleeps. She is wonderful, she is just such a little personality. It's so nice having little friends in the house with me whilst I work. She woke me up at 6 AM this morning by just bapping me on the face because she wanted attention. So that's how my life is going. We've also got a rescue cat, her name is Rhubarb. Rhubarb and Crumble is cute. Rhubarb is 9 years old. She is also asleep right now. She is right there, but again, I don't want to disturb her. I'll put up a little photo of her. She is so sweet, she is so gentle. She belonged to an old lady who sadly died, and then this woman fostered her for a year. I think this woman wanted to keep her, but it turns out that this woman's got 3 sons and a tomcat, and Rhubarb just wasn't happy, so she's come to us for a very nice quiet life. Although actually she wishes it was quiet because Crumble is obsessed with her. Rhubarb's still learning, Rhubarb's still trying to suss Crumble out, so there's a lot of trying to keep them from not attacking each other or trying to stop Rhubarb from attacking Crumble. Which again, exhausting. But generally, I'm really good. I'm in a really good place in my life. I've got my house, I've got my cats. I'm really preoccupied with all this housework stuff, which I love. I love home improvements. So yeah, good. That was a really long rambling answer. I'm good. Marissa asked, do I like more to research my history videos or my mystery ones? Always love your videos, your voice calms me down. That's really cute, thank you. I prefer to research my history videos just because it's not as dark. I don't feel like there's as much pressure on me for the history videos, which, don't get me wrong, I still want to get all the facts correct and it's got to be right, but it doesn't feel as high stakes. So in terms of what I enjoy or what I feel less stressed doing, definitely my history stuff, but my true crime stuff, I feel so passionately about it. I love talking to family members, I love trying to help, I love the feeling that I'm actually doing something good and putting something good out into the world, and yeah, so it's quite balanced. But I think in terms of like a work day, given the choice, I think I'd prefer to work on a history video. Oh, Jessica asked, do I watch BookTube? If so, who are my favourite booktubers? I do watch BookTube. Who are my favourite booktubers? That's a very good question. There's Lexi. What's her channel name? 2 seconds. Alexandra Roslin, that's her. Her videos feel like a warm hug. They're just so cozy. Like, they make me want to like curl up on the sofa with a blanket and a cup of tea, and I don't even drink tea. And she like talks about, actually to be fair, she doesn't talk about the style of books that I really like to read. She talks about a lot of like fantasy and middle grade, but I don't even care. I just love her books. Holly just texted me and I got distracted. I said I love her books. I love her videos. Jack Edwards, he does like reading challenges and stuff, and he talks about like a lot of books that are a bit more obscure, ones that I probably wouldn't have heard otherwise. I do generally find we have quite a similar taste in reading, so I take a lot of recommendations from his videos. And there's one more girl as well. I want to say her name's Emmy. Yes, Emmy. So she's like just so well spoken. She has the nicest voice. Again, she doesn't really read books that I read. It's just really nice to watch her videos. She does like, again, they're quite cozy but in a very different way. I don't know how to describe it, how do words work? But yeah, she does a lot of like reading vlogs and book hauls, and it's not so much like her sitting down and being like, these are the 10 books I've read most recently. It's like very much anything about books, she'll do it. And yeah, I just really like her videos. I think they're my top 3. Alexandra asks, what's Holly's occupation and what does she think dating a content creator is like? She is an accountant. She fully qualified last year. She's been working towards it for so many years, and I'm so proud that she's finally like done it. She has a very different job to me, an accountant. Like, it's very proper and serious. And what does she think dating a content creator is like? I actually don't know, and she's not here right now for me to ask her. Let me send her a text and we'll find out. Okay, we'll circle back round to that one when she replies. Okay, next question. Oh wait, no, Holly's replied straight away. She's on her phone at work. Not good. She's replied, you're just Pickles, you ain't no content creator. I am Pickles. No, she says, I mean, you're just a very normal person like you always say, but also you're like pretty inspiring because you do everything yourself. Oh, that's really cute. I do everything myself. I research, film, edit, do all the background work myself. A lot of YouTubers have like editors and people who do a lot of that work. I'm too much of a control freak to do that. Oh, she's really cute. Watching you be motivated and how much work you put into your research, but also it allows you to live your life and not be held back by the 9 to 5 like I am. That's true. I do think I'd really struggle going back to 9 to 5 work now. I think once you've been self-employed, the thought of like having to go back to a 9 to 5 is like a really weird concept. Like, I like having that freedom, and I know that she is quite jealous because obviously accountant, like I said, she's a very 9 to 5 job. Okay, what career did you envision yourself having before doing this, and what inspired you to start filming these videos? So I thought I was going to be a wedding dress designer, a wedding dress maker. I did textiles and fashion studies in 6th form and I loved it. Like, I loved it so much. I wanted to apply to go to London College of Fashion, and then I got diagnosed with scoliosis and I got told that I needed a spinal fusion, meaning that my spine is straight. I can't bend my spine, and obviously that doesn't work too well with bending over a sewing machine. Like, I can sew a little bit without being in pain, but being able to do that all day every day is just not really feasible for me. So that's kind of what I wanted to do, and then scoliosis scuppered that dream. I know before that I wanted to be a journalist. I've always loved writing, and when I was like 14 I had an article, like a monthly, or was it bi-weekly? I can't remember, article in the local newspaper, and it's still like one of my biggest achievements. I did it for like 2 years. So I did want to be a journalist for a little bit. I don't know why I never really pursued that. I think I just kind of fell out of love with it a little bit. Maybe doing English literature at A-levels ruined all my love for English, who knows. And then after I finished school I decided I wanted to train to become a makeup artist. I did train, I got loads of qualifications, and then I realised it hurt my back too much, so I couldn't do that either. And now I don't really know what I want to do. I do love the thought of maybe becoming a teacher. I don't know. I don't know if I have it in me to be a teacher. I don't know if I could like actually do it, and also I don't have a degree, so that would be like I'd have to go and get a degree and do all that, which I wouldn't be opposed to, but maybe I would do it. Yeah, I don't really know. Everything I wanted to do was ruined by my back, so now I'm here, and I'm glad, because 10 years ago I never would have like envisioned this life for myself. This job didn't really exist, so maybe in 10 years time I'll have another job that doesn't exist, who knows. And in terms of what inspired me to start filming these videos, I think it was just the fact I've always been fascinated by true crime. I've said this so many times I sound like a broken record, but as a very, very anxious person, I got diagnosed with anxiety disorder when I was like 3 years old. I have this need to control everything around me. I'm like a very controlled person, and I've always been fascinated by true crime because I've always felt like if I can learn everything I can about sort of criminals and the way their minds tick and find out like how I can prevent it from happening to myself, then I would be able to prevent it happening to myself. And that's where I think my interest in it has stemmed from. Ask any of my friends, I've been interested in this kind of stuff since I was a young teenager. It's like it sort of becomes a fixation for me, and I never really thought about doing it on YouTube. It wasn't like something ever crossed my mind to talk about because it's a bit weird, isn't it? And then, totally out of left field, I started filming Pretty Little Liars theory videos because, again, I found it really interesting. I found the sort of element of mystery to it really interesting. People really enjoyed those videos. This was back when I just filmed videos for fun because I wanted to. Again, it was never meant to become a career. It's just something fun I did for me. And then when those people like liked that element of mystery in those theory videos, I sort of started talking about true crime. And at first it was just talking about like them in terms of like, this is a mystery, but as the years have gone on, it's very much become like something I've realised I can help and I can make a difference, and people need a voice, and I have that platform, and that's how it sort of turned into what I do now. I actually think there was another question that will link quite nicely to the answer. Let me see if I can find it. Yes, this one. Have you had doubts about doing true crime content and fear of trivialising the pain of the victims and their families? Yes, literally this is one of the biggest things. I just went I just went so squeaky. This is one of the biggest things I think about when I'm making my content now. And I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't always something I was aware of. Like in the very, very early days of doing this, it was just a mystery. And then as I've done it over the years, I've spoken to family members and I've learnt and I've listened, and I've realised that there is such a space for true crime on the internet in terms of being able to actually help. Like the difference you can make in cases like this by just talking about them. There's one case I've covered on my channel, and I don't think I can say which case it is because it's all sort of ongoing, but I speak to the person who, like the family member who helped me make the video, and so many huge things have happened on the back of me making that video, and I don't know why I'm about to cry. And I do think there's such a thin line between viewing these videos as entertainment, and of course they are entertaining because people watch them because they find them entertaining, but also you've got to be responsible, and you've got to be a responsible viewer of true crime. Is something I say all the time. You've actually got to discuss with the people, with the families you're talking about. You might notice I don't really tend to cover recent cases in the last 10 years maybe, unless it's working with the family. This is another one of the reasons why I don't really do solved cases on my channel, because I feel like once they've been solved, there's nothing I can do that's going to help or going to add to it, unless there's some sort of point I can make on social justice, or there was a big law that came out of it and it will sort of like help people spread awareness still by talking about it. I don't like to talk about solved cases. And that's not to make, I've said this before and I've had people attack me for being like, don't make me feel guilty for watching solved cases. You do you, boo. If you enjoy watching solved cases, then go watch them. It's no shade on other creators. It just isn't in line with what my message on my channel is, if that makes sense. Solved videos tend to get a lot more views. They really do. But I think morally for me, I want to help. I will talk about missing people. I will talk about cases that need solving. It's why I'm so passionate about Jane and John Doe cases, because it needs to be spoken about. The word needs to be spread. Yeah, so I feel like I've gone off on a tangent. But yes, I do worry about trivialising the pain of victims and families, and I do everything I can to offset that. And if somebody ever came to me and said like, you've made this video, I don't like it, take it down, I will do everything I can to sort of correct that situation. Whilst we're on the topic, let me answer this one from Alison. Is there anything you don't like about the true crime community? And absolutely. If we're talking about the true crime community here on YouTube and not just like in the wider context, I do feel like true crime can be trivialised sometimes. I feel like so many creators, and on my videos as well, you, instead of having helpful discussions about the case, about the victim, about like things that could be looked into, it's very much like, oh my god, you're amazing, I love you, you're like my favourite creator, like, and as lovely as those comments are, like, it's always nice to receive a comment like that. When every comment is like that, it seems a bit fangirly. Like, I'm not here making my videos so people like me, if that makes sense. I used to film lifestyle content, I used to do makeup stuff, I used to like sharing my life on the internet, but as I've sort of grown, I'm nearly 28 years old, I've really started to value my privacy, and I don't want to share my life on the internet anymore. Even on Instagram, on my stories, I mostly share pictures of my cats and my pony because I just really appreciate my privacy and my me time, and I don't feel the need to share all this on the internet now. And I think just from the nature of being on YouTube and being a content creator, people feel like they need to like fangirl over you and over like other creators, and it just makes me uncomfortable because I'm not here to share my life. I'm here to talk about these stories, and if people are leaving a comment, I'd rather they leave a comment about the story rather than about my appearance. Like, and as lovely as it is, I know the intentions are lovely, I know it is, don't get me wrong, like, it's always nice to read, I don't read it and think like, oh, you're a horrible person, but I feel like there's too much focus on that stuff, because again, I think most of the sort of like target audience is teenage girls. Like, a big chunk of my viewers, not a majority, but a big chunk of my viewers are like teenage girls, and I had that sort of like fangirl mindset as well when I was younger, and like, don't get me wrong, I would have been one of those girls, but I think it's important that that's not the focus. Does that make sense? I really hope it makes sense. That's not supposed to be shady, I just feel like there should be discussion, adult discussion, rather than focusing on trivial things. Am I gonna get hate? I hope I don't get hate for that. It's not meant to be shady. When did I know I was a part of the LGBT community? When I was 13 years old and I went to see St Trinian's at the cinema, and there's that scene where Kelly walks around the corner, and I remember vividly thinking to myself like, oh no, that means something. And then I repressed it for a really long time. A really long time. Oh, this one. Sorry if this is too invasive, but I'm curious. Do you consider yourself lesbian or bisexual or something else? I know you've commented on being in a relationship with a male before, and now with Holly. I've never actually been in a relationship with a man before. I haven't. I sit somewhere between bisexual and lesbian. I don't feel comfortable labelling myself as a lesbian because I do find men attractive. Would I ever want to be in a relationship with a man? No. Have I ever pictured my life being married to a man? There's a really loud plane outside. That's really loud. Have I ever pictured myself in a relationship marrying a man? Never. Am I bisexual? I just don't feel like I can claim lesbian. If people ask me, I generally just say I'm queer or I'm gay as like an umbrella term. Bisexual also doesn't seem to fit. I don't feel bisexual. Like, my feelings for women are so much stronger than they are for men. And I feel like maybe there's some sort of like heteronormativity there that I need to unpick. But I don't know. Yay. Umbrella term. How do I keep being positive? Well, I force myself to keep being positive. Like I said, I have been diagnosed with generalised anxiety disorder my whole life, and under that I've got a whole load of like little anxiety diagnoses, that was the word, as well. And my sort of standard way of thinking is death and terror at every turn. Like, when somebody's like, oh, what's the worst that could happen? Death is always the worst that can happen. Always. Like, no matter what the situation is, death could occur. And that's sort of the mindset that I sit in every moment of every day. Like, everything is terrible. Everything is going to end badly. So I have to force myself not to think that way. And when I went to therapy, I've been to therapy many times, maybe when I was like 11 years old, my therapist made me like do this exercise where I turned what she called like caterpillar thoughts, which is like the bad thoughts, into butterfly thoughts, which are the good thoughts. And it was like, okay, if this happens, what's the good thing that can happen? And that's sort of the way that I've trained my mind to work. So whilst like the negative is always there, I'm always very aware of the terrible things that can happen. I'm definitely a catastrophizer. Everything is terrible. I have to train myself to think, but this could happen, or this is like the best thing that could happen from this situation. And that's how I'm positive through years of therapy and a traumatic childhood. And now I'm here. I do feel myself sometimes being like that toxic positivity kind of person. That person who's like, no, everything's fine, like don't be sad, everything's good. And I've got to like stop myself from being that person sometimes, because I've trained myself so much to like, you've got to be happy, you've got to smile, everything's like gonna turn out well. Because if I start to snowball, Lord help everyone around me. What made us move house? Also, do you like the new house? Yes, I said at the beginning of the video, I love this house. It is everything we wanted. It's not actually the first house that we like offered on. We had a whole other house in a very similar area. We loved this other house, and it turns out the guy we were buying from was an arsehole, literally to the point where my estate agent was like, I've been in this business for 45 years and he is the worst person I've ever dealt with in my entire career. He was like, if he comes back to me in 6 months' time with a £5 million house, I wouldn't say it's worth a commission. He's like, I'd turn him down. So that is the kind of guy we were dealing with, trying to buy this first house from. Obviously that all fell through. We were devastated. We were so upset. We loved that house. That was at the beginning of last summer. Over the summer, house prices increased by about £40,000. So then we had that to contend with, because everything was now a lot more expensive and we were looking at houses that were smaller for more money, and we just had this first house in our head, so we were like, that was our dream house and we'll never find anything else that we love that much. And then I went to 10 house viewings in a week. Around 10, I can't remember the exact number. I went to so many house viewings. Holly was revising for her exams, so she couldn't come with me. And they were all horrible. Like, every single one of them was just awful, just horrible. And then this one came up. Literally, my estate agent called me and he was like, we've got this other chain that's fallen through, the house at the bottom of the chain, they're like, buyers pulled out, we think it'll be the perfect house for you, but we're not selling it, it's through like this other estate agent, so you need to call the other estate agent and tell them that you want to come view this house. So I called the estate agent and they were like, sorry, no, it got sold months ago. And I was like, no, it's fallen through. I was like, trust me, when it all like comes through to you, please call me back and schedule a viewing. And then I heard back from her later that afternoon and she was like, yeah, it fell through, like, do you want a viewing? So we went that Saturday and we loved it, luckily, and we still love it. We've lived here for like 6 weeks now and it's so warm, which leads me to the first part of your question, why did we move out of the flat? That flat was cold and mouldy and damp and it was just horrible. We loved the location. We lived in like this little village and the location was gorgeous. The flat was horrible. It was fitted with storage heaters that just simply didn't work. We told our landlord in December that the heating wasn't working and she didn't get it fixed until April, and then we never used them because it was April and it was not cold enough to have heating on. Our electric bill was like £120 a month, which now doesn't sound that bad considering the energy price hikes, but a year ago was pretty bad, and we weren't even having heating with that. Our boiler leaked, we had no hot water really, the shower was like a piss dribble. Something about that flat made Holly break out in rashes. Like, she couldn't even wash in the flat because the water would literally break her out in hives. She'd have to like go to her parents' house to wash. There was mould growing up the walls, there was condensation on the inside of the windows at all times. It was awful. The bedroom, it just stank. Like, I think there was damp underneath the floorboards. So like my side of the bed, I'd like roll over in the middle of the night and be woken up by this horrible damp smell that was just like emanating up. We told our landlord all of this. Did she do much? No. She did send out a damp specialist at one point, and the damp specialist was like, I'm going to be honest with you, if my daughters were living in this house, I would be moving them out today. And we were like, great. We assumed that went back to the landlord. Did we ever hear anything about it? No. So when it came around to renewing our contract, they tried to raise the price, first of all. But also it was horrible and we said no, so we moved back in with Holly's parents for a few months until we moved in here. And that's the story of the horrible damp flat in a location that we loved and wish we could afford to live in still, but a horrible, horrible flat. Kira's come in with a load of questions. How's Crumble doing? I love her. She's very cute. She's still asleep, which is pretty amazing because I don't think she's ever slept this long. I thought for sure she'd come in to annoy me by now, but she's asleep. Incredible. She is literally the most precious little being. She is so cute. She's got such a personality. She just wants to play and be cuddled and loved. She is so spoiled. Like, to be the cat of... Oh, speaking of the devil. Hello, darling. Did you hear your name? People want to see you. Come here. As I was saying, to be the kitty cat of 2 lesbian millennial parents with no kids. Hey. Aren't you so spoiled? She is literally just the loveliest little bean. She hates this. You hate everything about what's going on right now, don't you? Come on then. So she is doing great. She is currently going to annoy Rhubarb. Leave Rhubarb alone. Leave her alone. She'll just bop you on the head. Come here. Okay, that's going to be a situation that I'll deal with in a second. Favourite tea or coffee recipes? I don't actually drink tea or coffee, but I am partial to a peach iced tea from Costa. So there's that. When or where is my next trip going to be? We're hoping to go to Croatia, to Dubrovnik in May, but we'll wait and see if that's going to go ahead. I think it will do, but we're not like setting all our hopes on it. What are some of my favourite movies and TV series? My favourite movies are Sweeney Todd, A Star is Born. I loved A Star is Born. La La Land, loved it. Girl Interrupted. I suddenly can't think of any other movies. Encanto, oh my god, me and Holly are obsessed with Encanto. We've literally watched it about 5 times. We love Encanto, so good. Also watched the new West Side Story yesterday. Incredible, made me sob. My favourite TV series is always Gossip Girl. I love Gossip Girl. I actually caved and watched the 2021 new version of Gossip Girl. Awful, absolute trash. Did I watch every second of it? Absolutely. Hated it. Will I watch series 2? Yes. But also like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, New Girl. Do you know that there's now a New Girl podcast where literally Zooey Deschanel, Hannah Simone and Lamorne Morris go through like every episode of New Girl? That's been my listen in the... can't speak. That's been my listen at the yard in the mornings. Vampire Diaries, still love Vampire Diaries. Glee, oh I love Glee so much. Michelle's asked, I've been wanting to ask this for years, how do you do your hair for videos? Did you learn watching a tutorial? If so, can you link it? That's really kind, but I do nothing to my hair. I literally just brush it. I have very straight hair. Like, this is my natural hair. So I just brush it, or I put it back into a ponytail, and that's about the length of it, if I'm being really honest. I'm not a hair person. I don't understand how people do hair and make it amazing. My hair doesn't even curl. Like, it is so like aggressively straight. Unlike the rest of me, funnily enough. It just does not curl. I curl it, it falls out 2 minutes later, so I just brush it and hope for the best. I have started using a new shampoo and conditioner though, and look how shiny it is. It's nice. Maybe I'll tell you what it is. I'm testing it out at the moment. How did you get the confidence to go on YouTube and do a video for the first time? How did your friends and family react? Also, have you ever had anyone approach you for an autograph when you're out and about? I started doing YouTube after I had my back surgery and I wasn't really allowed to leave the house for 6 months, and I was so bored. I didn't tell anyone at first, like not really, and I don't know how I got confidence. I think I was just so bored that I just didn't care, and also I didn't think anyone would ever find out. And yeah, I was just talking about makeup, and I used to love makeup so much. Like, it was my biggest hobby. I've pared down a bit now on the makeup front, but it just used to fill me with so much happiness. So I just talked about makeup and things that I liked, and it was nice. How did my friends and family react? I don't really remember. I think my friends like were quite cool. Like, they quite liked it. I think my friends are all just as nerdy as I am, and although back in like 2012, 2013 when I started YouTube, it wasn't like that well known, my friends are nerdy enough that they also watched YouTube, and they watched like the same like British creators that I did. So they got it. My family, I don't really remember how my family reacted. I'm sure I just probably didn't tell them and just let them figure out for themselves, and now it's my job. There was... Oh, hi! Oh my god, Rhubarb just scared the shit out of me. Rhubarb, hi darling! I didn't see you down there. You want to say hi? She likes being cuddled. Hi, this is Rhubarb. Hi darling. She's got such a grumpy face. She looks so pissed off all the time. But she's not. She's really lovely. She's really gentle. Aren't you such a lovely girl? You've been asleep for hours. Mwah. Come on then, I'll let you free. Good girl. Are you going to sit on my lap? No. As I was about to say, there was one woman who I worked with who was like in her mid-30s. I was literally like 18 years old, who just hated me. It's still to this day, I'm not entirely sure why. Like, maybe I was a bit of a dick, I don't know, but I was 18 and she was in her mid-30s. You'd think like there'd be a bit of allowance for that. I just don't really know why she hated me. And she literally, I remember it so clearly, went on Twitter one day and just started sending me like the most horrible tweets about my YouTube channel, and I just remember being so baffled by it, because I was like, you're literally mid-30s and you're obsessed with me. It was really weird, but that was like the only person like I knew in real life who was really weird about it. It was weird. That was such a weird time. That was so odd. Also, have I ever had anyone approach me when I'm out and about? I have. And I'm so sorry to anyone who's ever approached me, because I am so awkward. If any of you have ever approached me and I've seemed like horrible or like rude or awkward, that's because I am awkward. I'm not a very social person at the best of times. Like, I'm quite a quiet person, and I find the whole concept of like people knowing me off the internet really weird. Like, I love this job because it gives me the ability to work from my house. I don't need to leave my house. I don't need to talk to people. I don't need to socialise with people. There's no pressure. And so it always like knocks me a bit when people come up to me in public and they're like, I love your videos, like I watch them all the time, and I'm like, ah! And like, it's nice, it's really nice, but I never quite know how to react or what to say. Weirdly, the most I've been recognised is in Pop World in Reading. I've probably had about 10 people come up to me in Pop World in Reading over the years saying they watch my videos, so that just makes me know that this community I have here is right, like it works. And I think with that I'm going to sign off this video because I've been talking for ages. Hopefully you leave this feeling like you know me a little bit better. Regular content will resume next week. I actually have a book haul coming up. I've never done a book haul before, but I have a book haul coming up which I'm quite excited to film. Thank you so much for watching. If you've got any other questions, stick them down below. We can have a chat in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.